How's it going? Welcome to a new video. Have you ever wandered into a cinema, popcorn in hand, or logged on to your favourite streaming platform expecting the usual rom-com or action-packed extravaganza, only to find yourself plunged into a cinematic labyrinth that leaves you questioning the very fabric of reality? Yeah? Well, if you have, welcome to the world of Arthouse Cinema, where the films are as unpredictable as my YouTube videos. What is Arthouse film, and why does it sound like something you'd stumble upon in a hipster's secret diary? Well, as I was diving deeper into the kaleidoscopic world of Arthouse cinema, which now turns out to be like opening Pandora's box of creative expressionism, I found out that each film was like a unique snowflake, or indeed made of pure, unadulterated artistic intent. And the evolution of the genre is not just a history lesson. It turns out it's a saga of rebellion, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of what if. So, hold on to your brakes as we embark on a cinematic odyssey that spans continents, decades, and countless cups of overpriced coffee. If you're new here, then my name is Mikey, and I'm a cinematographer and director, albeit retired from active duty, but I'm now just doing it for shits and giggles, as I weave my way down the hobbyist rabbit hole that is creation for YouTube fame. Anecdotally documenting my journey in this new chapter of my life, I will endeavour to answer some of the questions within the journey as they happen. Now, before I delve into what I've learned from my research, I thought I might preface this story with some facts. With more facts. I didn't attain any recognised qualifications as a director or a camera operator, and while I went to uni and now have the lofty title before my name that is doctor, I didn't do any media courses and have learned all that I know in the industry from being a person who learns or has learned a subject without the benefit of a teacher or formal education of this particular subject, other than those I've worked with, and I've gleaned what experience I have from peers I could from them, and also my love for film. I'm self-taught, I'm self-motivated, I'm self-sufficient, and I'm an autodidactic, if you will. So now that's all out the way, what's an arthouse film? Well, good question. I shot a film last year called Trick or Treat, written by Linda Hollinger, and I was asked if that film was an arthouse film. And to be honest, I didn't really know if I was offended or proud at the question. I then realised that I wasn't actually sure if I could answer the question of what an arthouse film was. So I was motivated by it, and then to make this video. So where did my research take me? Well, picture a movie that ditched the commercial bandwagon, ran off into the sunset, and decided to paint its own path with the brush of artistic rebellion. You know, the films that make you go, or, wow, all in the same breath. They're like that one friend who insists on wearing vintage clothes for the aesthetic and won't stop talking about the cinematic parallels in everyday life. In other words, arthouse film are the indie rock stars of the cinematic world, complete with a niche fan base that's far too cool for school. But the more agreed definition is that it's almost known as art cinema, and it's a type of movie that strays away from the mainstream, sort of the commercial path to create a unique artistic expression. And these films are typically characterised by their serious, often experimental nature, and it prioritises directorial creativity and artistic vision over the mass market appeal. They tend to target niche audiences, offering depth, complexity, and unconventional narrative structures. Arthouse films provide a distinctive perspective, challenging traditional cinematic norms while pushing the boundaries of storytelling and visual aesthetics. So, if we head into the labyrinth alleys of the early 20th century in Europe, the seeds of arthouse cinema were sown by visionary filmmakers who dared to defy the norm. French Impressionist cinema, with its poetic approach to visual storytelling, and German Expressionism, characterised by stark, shadowy portrayal of the human psyche, laid all the groundwork. A pivotal example of such, from an early 20th century European cinema, is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, a German Expressionist film that was directed by Robert Wiene known for its innovative visual style and narrative that critiques societal conditions, marking a landmark in cinematic history. Imagine films that felt more like moving paintings, dripping with emotion and existential angst. Cinema's answer to Edvard Munch's The Scream. And then enter the Italian neorealism of the post-World War II era, a movement that stripped away the glitz and glamour to portray the raw, unvarnished reality of life. Directors like Roberto Rossellini and Vittorio De Sica became the unsung heroes of this era, telling stories of everyday struggle with a grit and authenticity that Hollywood could only dream of. Meanwhile, the French New Wave was busy crashing the cinematic norms with directors like Jean-Luc Godard and Francois Truffaut. Their films were a cocktail of unconventional narratives, jump cuts, and devil-may-care attitude towards cinematic conventions, mixing a shot of youthful rebellion with a wee pinch of existential malaise. One of the most notable art house filmmakers from the post-World War II era is Federico Fellini, an Italian director who's celebrated for his distinctive cinematic style. Fellini's films included renowned works like La Strada, La Dolce Vita, and 8½, are known for their unique blend of reality and fantasy, and their exploration of complete themes like memory and self-identity. Dreamy films blending reality with fantasy in a way that left audiences mesmerised and mildly bewildered. As the 60s and 70s rolled round, the American New Wave, or Hollywood Renaissance, brought a breath of fresh art house air across the Atlantic. Directors like Martin Scorsese and Francis Ford Coppola were armed with handheld cameras and a disdain for the status quo, infused mainstream cinema with art house sensibilities. Influential works, including Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Goodfellas, they all delve into the complex characters and darker societal themes. Scorsese's films are known for challenging Hollywood norms and have significantly shaped the landscape of art house cinema. Indie cinema was also a movement that appeared in the 80s and 90s, and it further showed that filmmaking was allowed with anybody with a camera, and that any aversion to mainstream cinema could make a movie. Directors like Quentin Tarantino and Kevin Smith became the poster children of this era, crafting films that blended pop culture savvy, I guess, with a distinct art house flair. Pulp Fiction, Clerks, they weren't just movies, they were statements, loud, proud, and unapologetically different. Now you can fast forward to the modern era, where art house cinema has blossomed into a global tapestry of voices and visions. Directors from every corner of the globe are pushing boundaries of what cinema can be, from the hauntingly beautiful films of Iranian director, and I pause for pronunciation, Abbas Kiarostami, up to the vibrant sensory overload of Indian filmmaker Anurag Kashyap. The world of art house cinema is more diverse and dynamic than ever. Robert Eggers, Sofia Coppola, the cool kids on the block, blending traditional art house elements with a dash of mainstream appeal, proving that you can have your art house cake and eat it. But digital technology, online streaming platforms have revolutionised how art house films are made and consumed, making it easier for filmmakers to create and for audiences to access these cinematic gems from anywhere in the world. Directors like Greta Gerwig and Barry Jenkins, they're using these tools to tell stories that are personal, political, and profoundly human, blending aesthetic and narrative complexity of art house cinema with themes that resonate across cultures and communities. But what defines art house cinema today? Well, I would imagine that today is defined not just by its defiance of mainstream norms, but by its embrace of diversity, its willingness to experiment, and its capacity to reflect the complexities of the human condition. A cinematic oddball, a rebel with a cause, characterised by its defiance of mainstream conventions. These films experiment with narrative structures, and it makes spaghetti look linear in comparison. The visual aesthetics are a feast for the eyes, where the unique storytelling techniques are a playground for the mind. And let's not forget the target audience. Those people, the intellectual cinephiles who crave films that make them think, feel, and occasionally scratch their heads in confusion. You know, films like Moonlight, Parasite, and The Farewell are testaments to the genre's evolution, offering narratives that are as rich and varied as the world that we live in. Understanding art house genre is like embracing your inner art nerd. It's about celebrating diversity, creativity, and the sheer joy of filmmaking that dares to be different. Art house films might not be everyone's cup of tea or artisanal coffee, but they do make the cinematic world a wee bit more interesting. So maybe, you know, next time if the fancy takes you, you know, something a wee bit different, a wee bit something off the beaten path, why not dive into an art house genre? Who knows, you might just find your new cinematic obsession, or at the very least, something to brag about at hipster parties. But as I look to the future, it's clear that art house cinema will continue to evolve. It'll challenge and it'll inspire, because it's a genre that refuses to stand still. It's always asking, what if? And in doing so, ensuring that the work of cinema remains as unpredictable, engaging, and utterly fascinating as ever. So after all this, would I consider my film, Trick or Treat, an art house film after laying all of this out? Well, art house films often stand apart from the mainstream cinema due to their artistic ambitions, which might include unusual cinematography, maybe non-linear storytelling, or exploring philosophical, social, or existential themes in depth. And while the film does involve a social issue, it doesn't really tick the other boxes. It isn't really pushing the boundaries in narrative, style, or subject matter, and it doesn't really prioritise artistic expression over commercial appeal. I'm not sure it could be considered an art house film, but I'm okay with that because I think it tells a great story and in a simple and linear way. But I'd definitely love to hear your input on it, and if you've seen it, or if you haven't, I'll link it in the description below and you can let me know what you think. So thanks for watching another video. I know this one was a little bit different, but I decided to go along with this one because it was a question I wanted to answer, and well, it took me down the rabbit hole. So thanks for watching, thanks for being here, and enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying this journey, and I will see you all on the next one, whatever that is. And until then, headbutt that like button, stay cool, and be nice to each other.